Welcome, everybody, viewers, young and old, to Bill Has Opinions, the Gen X Problem with the Drinking Show. I am, of course, Laura Lavoie, and I'm here, as always, with Bill Perkins, who is not a tenor sax player, but does have opinions. How are you?
Not yet. Not yet. I do have plans to get a saxophone at some point. I don't know if it's going to be tenor. It's going to be whatever. It's going to be the $100 sax off of Craigslist. Is what it's going to be. And then we'll decide what kind of saxophone I play after I learn to vaguely play the saxophone.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So how are you other than future plans to learn to play the saxophone? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay this week. It's really nice here. Weather's changed. It's a little chilly. It's been raining like hell, but it stopped now, so it's just chilly tonight, which is great. I like it. I'm wearing a sweater, as you can see. It's sweater weather now.
Nice.
And I'm drinking my fall beers, which is what we're here to talk about. So yeah, it's pretty okay. Things are good. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I finished at least one room in the house. We've been up. So we have an unfinished. We bought a house that was not finished, and it's got these rooms that were basically attic, right? And we've been working on it for a while. We actually hired somebody to put the drywall in, but we got one of them actually we got the floor laid down in the hallway and in the one of the rooms over last weekend, and then we got all the trim put down and everything. So aside from the final paint job in that room, it's pretty well finished, So that's a thing. It's good.
Nice. Yeah. Well done.
Oh, and we're minutes away from getting an equity line on the thing. We've had the house for just over a year, and you have to live in it a year to get an equity line. So there's that, and I'm hoping that's gonna I don't know, shift some funds around and be financially lucrative for us, hopefully.
Right. Awesome.
So that's the story I got going on right now. How you doing? Laura's got some sad news this week.
Well, I've got some clumsy news this week. About a week ago, I was walking down the sidewalk and promptly fell off the sidewalk and sprained not one, but 2 ankles. And considering that humans only have 2 ankles, that was troubling. So today was the first day I didn't work from the couch, with my legs elevated and ice on both ankles. The swelling has gone down and it only hurts a little bit to walk. So, but I'll live.
Okay.
What can I do? I mean, it happened.
Did Matt pick you up and drag you back to the apartment, or how'd that work out?
No, but oh my God. So we walked, because we live in downtown Decatur here in Georgia, and we walked to where we had gone. So we were about maybe 0.2 miles from our apartment. So I literally just shuffled home, just like tiny little footsteps. It took us probably a half an hour to go that far.
Wow. You were just out the way.
Yeah. And I think at that point, when you first injure yourself, you still have that kind of adrenaline response. Like, it really hurt, but I had to get home. So I'm like, I just got to power through this.
Right.
So, and it was the next day that it hurt worse. Like, it was swollen to the size of a golf ball, and it was just awful. So, but that was about a week ago. It's because we didn't have a show last Tuesday. That's probably why.
Is that what happened? Messed up your whole week.
Let's say that's what happened. Let's say that. So this is a slightly unusual show in that we are talking about beer for the whole show. So normally, we open the show, say hi, how you doing, talk about ourselves a little. But then we talk about the beers we're drinking. But the whole show is about beers. But I figure we should probably still just mention a little bit what we're drinking first, and then we can crack open the rest of our beers as we go. So what do you have?
I'm going to talk about the beer I pre-gamed with first. It was called, hold on, it's German. Hoftettner beer. Hochzeitbier. I don't actually think it is German. Sorry, it's probably from somewhere else. No, wait, it is. It's from Austria. Okay,
so it's Austrian.
not
Fabulous.
German, but that area, that general German-speaking area of the world.
Kind of like Russia situation.
Right. So here's the can for it. I got this, the other day with a handful of other things I bought specifically for the show. It was okay. I mean, I drank it quickly. I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't my favorite Oktoberfest type beer that I've had. But it was all right. And so right now, then after that finished, I poured myself this one here. This is called Fest Beer Lager, and it is from Burial in Asheville, North Carolina.
Ooh, yum.
I'm not loving it. It's very caramelly tasting. I think it's made with corn, which I had briefly discussed with Laura because I had a corn-based Marzen over the weekend from Fauna Flora. I find that Marzens are already sweet enough that if you use corn as your base, they get real sweet, and it's slightly too sweet for me, honestly. I've got a little bit of an aversion to really caramelly tasting beer. So anyway, this one's going to be like a little harder to just chug because I don't love the taste of it. Like I said, I'm fairly certain it must be corn. It's got kind of almost a peanutty sort of aftertaste. It's really weird. But like it's got the same aftertaste that like peanut butter jelly time has from Catawba.
Oh yeah, which I love, but in small doses.
In small doses, exactly. But that's a very sweet beer, also, right?
Mm-hmm. It is indeed. So I have. Well, to start out, we're starting out with our Oktoberfest. We also, as promised, have pumpkin beers to come.
Yes.
But so I have here. This is from Tucker Brewing Company in right here in Atlanta, well, in Tucker, and it's their Oktoberfest. I had a lot of it last year, and it is a Marzen, which I will go into the difference between a Fest beer and a Marzen beer in a minute because that's good stuff. But more importantly, I'm drinking it out of this here pretty glass that was actually sent to my family from Germany, from my uncle who lived in Germany that we never met. So he's dead now. That's why I have these. But I have this.
My uncle is told.
Yeah.
I actually took 3 semesters of German in college, and I don't get to use it much.
That's awesome.
It doesn't come up in casual conversation.
Rarely does it. I mean, it should. We should really say more things in German because it's an off-putting language if you're not used to it. Like people are just shouting and like they sound like they're clearing their throat a lot.
It's very similar to Klingon.
Which, I mean, the Klingon culture was based, almost entirely on Northern European cultures, like the Norse culture. So, sure.
Yeah, they're basically like space Vikings.
Exactly. So, and I want to remind our viewers that we want you to engage with us. So, tell us what you're drinking. As Jay is doing right now, he's drinking an Atomic Pumpkin. We'll come back around to Atomic Pumpkin later because I think we both have opinions on that. At least I do.
Yeah, I don't think I've had that one.
Oh boy, I've got opinions on that.
You've got an opinion on it, okay.
I do
We'll
have
talk
an opinion.
about later in the show. We're starting off with Oktoberfest.
Yes. So, all right. So I guess where should we start? Should we start with just Bill's monologue about fall beers? Like, do you have thoughts about fall beers in general?
I mean, I do. So I do really love this time of year because so let me start off. I'm just going to talk about. Sorry, this is not going to be about Oktoberfest really, but about the pumpkin thing. So between September and the end of November, I am a basic white girl for pumpkin stuff. I like all the pumpkin things. I will say every morning I'm drinking pumpkin coffee right now. Mm-hmm. I will eat the pumpkin bagels. I will have the pumpkin breads. I will eat the pumpkin pie. If you got a pumpkin thing, I will try it. And so several years ago when pumpkin beers first appeared, I was all like, oh, hey, what's this then? Pumpkin beer. I love this already, just on concept. Well, and I loved it more in concept than I did in real life. Okay, I'll say that. So it's a good concept, and sometimes it's well executed.
Yes, and we will definitely get into more details about that later in the show. But yes, I completely agree with you on that.
I love pumpkin, and I love the Oktoberfest beers too. Actually, this is a funny thing. Since we're going to start out talking about Oktoberfest, I will mention. So we previously discussed my ridiculousness on Untapped, right? About how I refused to give anything a 5. I was actually flipping out. So today I did a little back research. Like I was just gonna flip through and see what I thought about Oktoberfest beers and what I thought about pumpkin beers, so I could get a top 5 of each or whatever. And I was flipping through, and you know that I gave an Oktoberfest a 5 once.
What? No, what? I am shook.
Yeah, I totally did. I was surprised as you are.
Right?
What happens now? I don't have I talked. So here's the thing, and I think maybe I was already drunk when I did this. I must have been. I had to have already uploaded. This is the one so Red Hair Brewing is what it's called. Red Hair Brewing.
Oh yeah, that's out of the Atlanta area here. I'd like me some Red Hair.
I think I actually had this one over at the what's the little pub around the corner from your house that's the oldest craft beer place in Georgia or whatever.
Taco Mac? Oh no, not that Taco Mac. Not Taco Mac. No, it's the Brick Store, which is actually really awesome.
I think I must have had it there. I think that's where I had this. And so this is the one the one I gave 5 stars to is Red Hair Brewing's Pfeffer Oktoberfest.
Yes.
And I was shocked when I flipped back through and saw that I had given something 5 because I was like, what? I don't do this. But apparently it's a pretty good Oktoberfest beer. So if you can get a hold of it, I'm telling you to get a hold of it because Bill gave it a 5 and he doesn't give 5s to things.
That's things, not just beers. Bill doesn't give 5s to anything.
No, because then I feel like you've peaked.
Right? Exactly. So we've got the comments are coming in fast and furiously, and I love them. So let's get down to business. But before we get on to business, Bill, do you have a station break for today? I believe you have someone you want to talk about.
I did want to give a shout out. So for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been getting my specialty brews from a place in Hendersonville, North Carolina, called the Blue Bottle, which is a bottle shop, and I think it's the only bottle shop in Hendersonville. Asheville's got 7 or 8 bottle shops, but Hendersonville seems to have this one. It's great that I don't have to drive all the way to Asheville to get some nice quality craft brews, and they've got about 15 taps also in addition to the having a bottle shop. They're really nice guys. They'll talk to you about what you like and try to make recommendations and stuff like that. So I've really been enjoying the place. I was on a kick about a month ago on lime beers, and they really helped me out getting a bunch of lime beers.
Hi, Leah.
Hi. Oh, nice. We got Leah's watching today. That's great. Anyway, Blue Bottle. If you're in the Hendersonville, North Carolina area, check them out. I'm gonna try to see if we can get them to watch our show more religiously or something. Since
Right.
we're always at least drunk and talking about beer for a few minutes. So there's that. It should be pertinent to their interests. Anyway, that's I would say if you're in the area, check them out. It's a really good. They've got a good selection. They've got some good stuff. Oh, and we'll get into what good stuff I picked up there. Everything I'm drinking tonight, I picked up there.
Nice.
So that's I will say that. The Purple Onion, sadly, does not have any. They don't, aside from Highland Gaelic, which is moderately. I guess, fallish, but not really.
I think you can make a case. It's a year-round beer for them, but I only like it for fall.
There's no actual fall beers on tap here tonight, so I'm drinking beers that I have acquired elsewhere. Anyway, that's my station break for the evening. Blue bottle and yeah. So sorry, before we do the station break, I was telling you about my Oktoberfest selections, and that Haas and Pfeffer by Red Hair was my number one, apparently.
Apparently number one forever.
Forever. So I really like Oktoberfest beers, and I did notice this, that I do like a great many Oktoberfest beers. It is a thing. Hold on a second. Now I'm having trouble spelling October.
It's okay. Like it is okay. It starts with okay.
Okay, that's right. I can't spell.
That's why you can't spell, because it doesn't work.
Why they put a different consonant in there? That's just crazy. Also, it's funny.
I just realized I brought in two of the same beers, so I actually only have one other beer to drink.
Oh, let's talk for a minute about why Oktoberfest is in September. Do you know anything about that?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I do know something about that. Would we like to know something about that? So I'm actually, Matt, if you're out there, could you come swap beers with me? Because I got 2 Dark of the Moons and I want the Night Owl. And the door's locked, so you have to unlock it. All right. So, and also Matt has an official question for me if he can drink the Punkaccino. But if he can come in and get the Dark of the Moon, he doesn't have to drink the Punkaccino because I have 2 Dark of the Moons in here. So we are breaking the fourth wall here for a second. But I do have the actual reason why it's in September. I don't know why it's called Oktoberfest, to be honest, but
I actually knew sort of, but we'll talk about that in a moment.
Well, because it was for the wedding of like Prince King Ludwig something, and it was the style of beer that they did was Marzen, which was brewed in March and then cellared until September. And then they opened it for the big celebration that was Oktoberfest. And that's what we do now. That's what you do when you go to Germany and you drink beers out of the big glasses and stuff. So, but that's, I don't call it Oktoberfest, but it's in September. But the wedding was in September.
Okay, so you'll notice October means oct means 8, right? That should be the 8th month of the year.
That's true.
And December means 10. That should be the 10th month of the year. And Sept means 7.
Yeah.
So something happened, and everything got bumped.
Do you know what happened? What happened was Julius and Octavian Caesar, Augustus Caesar. That's what happened.
They decided to put their names on some months, and everything
they just stuck them in the middle of the year. They're like, here's our months now. And they both have 31 days. Because Augustus Caesar was like, no, fuck you, Julius. I'm going to have 31 days too. So, screw you.
In all fairness to Augustus, he didn't rule for more than like a week.
That's true. Fair. But he has lasting history.
Then you'll recall that Julius Caesar was the emperor for about 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about that.
Well, see, this is what happens when one of our most faithful viewers is a librarian, because we have all of this information at our fingertips, because she's going to Google that shit like right off. She's like, people, I got knowledge at my fingertips. So, fantastic. So a fun fact about Oktoberfest. So you enjoy Oktoberfest, but you are possibly enjoying 2 different kinds of beer, because Their Oktoberfest traditionally, the original Oktoberfest was a Marzen, which, like I said, it was a beer brewed in March and then cellared to lager, and then you drink it in, for the wedding for Oktoberfest. But that changed many years ago because Oktoberfest became such a huge international festival, and people come to drink all the beer, and you have the big old glasses of the beer, and there's the whole ritual of it, right? They were finding that Americans or non-Germans were having a lot of trouble drinking that much Marzen, and they were unable to function. So they started brewing what's called fest beer, which is a much lighter lager. It's still like a dark lager. It's still a caramelly lager, but it's like 4%.
It's like
yeah, it's made for people to be able to drink large quantities over a long period of time, whereas Marzens weren't necessarily that purpose.
All right. I'm going to mention that I'm opening my third beer now.
Oh, yay! I'm not even done with my first one.
It is. This is Great Lakes Oktoberfest. Great Lakes Brewing. From where is that? Out of Michigan?
No, it's from Cleveland, Ohio. Shout out to Cleveland.
Okay, Cleveland. Okay, I just saw Great Lakes. I assumed it was. I assumed Michigan, but
as it turns out, Cleveland is on Great Lakes too.
There are 5 Great Lakes, and they are all over the place.
And Cleveland is on one of them. But this beer, have you had it yet? Because this is one of my favorite beers. I very much enjoy this beer.
It's actually it's really good. It's really pleasant. It's better than the last 2 I had. I wish I started with. I wish I started with it. It's warmed up a little bit, which I wish it hadn't have. You
need to prepare ahead of time. Bring yourself a cooler with some ice.
I do. Oh. Or you know what? I'm gonna go grab. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab another cold glass to pour it into.
Which I was informed earlier was mere steps away, because I was like, "You have like a minute before the show goes live," and he's like, "I'm literally right here." It's totally okay.
So this will cool it up a little bit by pouring it into a cold glass. And it's not like it's warm. It's warmed up a little bit from sitting here.
Sure. Also, Heather says she's sorry. It's a habit to just pile the information on. Heather, do not change. Never change, because this is what we love about you.
No, and I mean, and I get it too, because I'm the same way. Like if I know some stupid fact, I've totally got like the Cliff Clavin thing. I'm mentioning the character from Cheers, who was the person who was full of like trivial facts, and sometimes he'd be like, Sammy, actually the and he would tell you some crazy fact that you didn't know, you didn't give a shit about. And I'll do that, and I'll realize halfway through whatever it is I'm telling somebody that like they don't give a shit, but I'm already going, so I'm gonna finish because I wound up. I gotta finish. Like it's like a thing. Like this. All right, I know I might have already told you this story, but now I gotta finish the story.
Well, so point 1 is why we have this podcast. It gives you an outlet for that. But 2, fun fact: when I was a freshman in college, I didn't know my roommates or suite mates when I got there. Then we ended up hanging out a lot because that's what you do in college. They called me Cliff Clavin. They called me Cliff because I was full of useless knowledge and I would just say things. Like there's a meme, like the Kermit memes where you've got like the good Kermit and the evil Kermit, and it's like the inner thoughts. There's one that says, "Don't act weird at this party," and then the evil Kermit says, "Tells useless facts about hairless cats." Like that's me.
Right. So, and I'm the same way. Like I have an inability to like just shut the fuck up about if I know some stupid thing about something. I'm gonna say it, and then I find out years later after I've told like 38 people this one useless fact that useless fact has been disproven 12 years ago, but it wasn't. It was one of those like how on the newspaper like they'll like run a headline and some sensational shit, and then they'll run a retraction 2 days later, but it'll be on like page 12, and so right. I never get the update. Like turns out that Australia is not as far away as the moon.
Oh my God.
I probably told that to 12 people before I found that out.
I think it's hilarious. Although, to your point, my mother-in-law was always fond of telling the story that when she was in elementary school or something, they told her that humans will never go to the moon because it's too far away. So I think the truth is, as they say, the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's both further than Australia, but close enough that we can get there.
I mean, and the flight is honestly about the same length of time.
That's true. I've been the longest flight I ever took. The longest. This is unrelated to beer whatsoever, but the longest flight we ever took. It was actually on the way back when Matt had such a bad panic attack. I thought he was going to jump. Like he was going to jump out that plane into the Atlantic Ocean. Like that was just going to happen. I'm like, yep. But I can't do anything, so I'm just going to sit here and watch this unravel because what can I do? We're on a plane over the Atlantic Ocean. All right, back to.
I'm sorry, where are you coming from if you're over the Atlantic Ocean?
Wait, did I get the right? No, yeah, it is. We were coming from South Africa.
Okay, I was like that seems like a weird way to come back from Australia, but okay.
No, it wasn't. I actually have not yet been to Australia, so talk about bucket lists. It's on my list for the future. But no, this was South Africa. So you fly from Atlanta across the equator and down the other way. But that's nothing. Although I do say we had a lot of really great beer in South Africa. Much of it was German style because it was mostly like Dutch settlers or English settlers, but Dutch settlers. So they had a lot of German style beers. And we were there in November. So we were drinking the Oktoberfests or, equivalent, but it was
summertime.
It was spring. Like, nice. And as Matt says, sometimes you just have to exit the plane. Like, who is the guy? What's the famous guy who stole a bunch of money or whatever and then jumped out the plane and never to be heard from again?
DB Cooper, something like that.
DB Cooper, yes.
Yeah.
But I recommend if you jump out of a plane, if you DB Cooper this shit, do not do it over an ocean because you will not live.
You won't live. You probably can't swim anymore.
All right, this is what happens when we drink a lot before the show. So we do still need to talk more about beers.
Let's do it.
As it were. So I know you're still finishing your Oktoberfest, and I'm about to open. I've got 2 pumpkins, and I think you said you had 1.
Let me finish my spiel on Oktoberfest then really quick. So I mentioned that my top beer ever was an Oktoberfest, apparently. Secondly, this is still pretty high, 4.25 Clawhammer from Highland, which I usually also naysay Highland except for what am I trying to say? Their winter beer.
The Cold Mountain?
The Cold Mountain, yes.
Which we will have a winter beer event too.
We'll have a winter beer special also, but I love the Cool Mountain. But I also am pretty fond of their Oktoberfest beer, and I have been drinking a lot of it. Me and Laura have been chit chatting over the last couple of weeks, and there was actually a keg of Clawhammer here at the Purple Onion about 2 weeks ago, and it's already gone. And she blamed me. She said, "You drank half of it at least."
I'm sure you did. I am absolutely sure that you did.
I put the hurt on it. I did. I drank a lot of it. It's a good beer. Let's see. Firestone Walker has a really good Oktoberfest. I gave that one 4 stars on the Untapped. Let's see. Bitburger. Oh, that's actually Sierra Nevada. Sorry, they've had 2 different. And usually I hate Sierra Nevada. Also, I
know.
They usually don't. Whenever they do a style that's not a hoppy IPA, they usually still screw it up by putting too much hops in it. But apparently, I think highly of their Oktoberfest because both 2019 and 2018, they had 2 different styles of Oktoberfest. They had in 2018 they had Weihenstephan And then in 2019 they had Bitburger, and both of those I gave high marks to.
Nice.
Both of those got 3.75, which is pretty. It's well above average for me on a beer. So I guess the point of this story. Let's see, Foothills Oktoberfest got a 3.5. Zillicoa's Oktoberfest got a 3.5. Brevard's
Nice.
Brevard got a 3.5 on Oktoberfest. Mother Earth got a 3.5 on Oktoberfest. Sam Adams gets a 3.5 on Oktoberfest. Long story short, I don't really like Oktoberfest beers.
Right. Yes. I think what that tells me, the moral of that story is, I'm opening my next BRBQ dubs. The moral of that story is, Jesus Christ. I don't usually drink out of bottles, so. Also, I have my trusty Detroit Lions bottle opener. I made a joke before the show that it was more reliable than the Lions, but that may not be true. It's actually coming apart. So it just might be the way. And I've got another glass here. Oh, no, come here. I'll show it to you with beer in it. So I do have another. Here, let me share this with you all. Because I got.
Segue us into pumpkin, and I'm going to be right back with another glass.
More glasses. I'll segue you into pumpkin. Woo, woo. All right. So what I have here is the Elysian Night Owl, which is, I bought an Elysian pumpkin patch, or whatever. And this is their basic pumpkin, just basic bitch pumpkin. So I'm about to find out what this is.
So Elysian makes one of the few IPAs that I like, and I'm curious about it for that reason, because I give high marks to Elysian as a brewery. Oh, by the way, I'm opening my first pumpkin now. Sorry, since we're segueing into pumpkin beers. This is Weyerbacher Imperial Pumpkin. Now, I'm a little curious because it says Imperial Pumpkin, and I'm not a big fan of Imperial styles usually because they tend to be a little bit too much flavor for me.
All right, I'm very curious. And Heather says, I heard that was not too bad. So I've had Weyerbacher other things that I've liked, so I'm curious. But what I will tell you, this Elysian Night Owl, which is their basic bitch pumpkin, is super delicious. It is exactly what I want in a pumpkin beer, which we will discuss in a minute. Because I have very specific needs in a pumpkin beer. And so it's got all the spices, and it tastes like pumpkin pie.
Okay. This Weyerbacher is very fucking good. I will say it leans a little bit spicy.
All right.
However, it still has. Can we go ahead and get into what it is I like about pumpkin beer?
Yes, I think that is. This is exactly the appropriate moment for that.
Okay, so this is the appropriate moment. Here's what I like. So, pumpkin beers. This is the thing. When you have a good pumpkin beer, it's like, mwah, oh, it's so good, right? However, most of them are terrible, and here's why. A great many of them are pumpkin spice beers and not pumpkin beers. What you're looking for is a perfect blend of you want it to taste spicy, but you want it to taste gourdy, but you want it to taste beery. It's got to be. It's got to be like a trinity of those three things to be good. Am I right?
Yes, I do mostly agree with you. So I lean toward the spice. Like it needs to have the spices, or else it just tastes like pumpkin water to me. Like alcoholic pumpkin water.
I've had one or two that they just tasted like squash water, and I was like, yuck.
Yeah. Like no. It needs, but it does. Ideally, it'll have a perfect blend. Like this Elysian tastes like pumpkin pie. I can taste the pumpkin, but I can taste all the spices. And that's what I really love about pumpkin pie, or pumpkin flavor season, is that spice flavor. I drink chai tea all year long. Generally, those are about the same sorts of things that you would put in pumpkins. Pumpkin spice. So I just like that flavor profile. This is super, super delicious. But the next beer I have, which I'm going to drink this and then open this, is a pumpkin stout. And the reason I want to point that out is because typically my favorite pumpkin beers tend to trend dark, because I think dark beers do a really good job of handling those flavors. So we'll see how that tastes.
I think there are more of them. Most pumpkin beers are like a really dark Marzen, basically, right?
Often, I mean, they're ales usually, but yes.
Okay, they're like a spicy ale, and once in a while, yeah, I've got a couple on my list here that are actually pumpkin stouts, but most of them, which stout you would think would work better because it's more of a desserty kind of flavor.
Yeah. Yes.
But very few people make a stout in a pumpkin style. Most people make that ale.
Yeah, like a red ale, I guess, like just sort of a standard ale, flavored ale.
So my number one pumpkin beer apparently is Pumpkin from Southern Tier.
That's a very good one. Very good
one. It's a good blend of seasoning and also tasting pumpkin-y, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also tasting beer. Then I've got another one, Pumpkin Head Ale from Shipyard Brewing, Shipyard. Is that out of Maryland? I can't remember exactly.
I think so, but I have a 6-pack of that in the closet right next to me that we're saving, because normally I won't drink a pumpkin beer until October 1st. I am making an exception because this is the first day, this is our show before October, so that's usually my rule. I have very strict holiday rules. But I do have a 6-pack of Shipyards, so that's good to know.
I gave 4 stars to Pumpkin Fest from Terrapin.
Oh, I used to love Pumpkin Fest. Oh, we had a glass. We had a Pumpkin Fest glass, and I love the glass, but I also love the beer.
Okay. Pisca Pumpkin Ale got 4 stars. Magic Hat Wilhelm Scream got 4 stars.
Magic Hat makes some good holiday beers.
Ichabod from New Holland in Michigan. That one got 3.75.
That is also a favorite.
Fall Hornin from Anderson Valley.
Yes.
3.75.
It's an interesting beer, an interesting brewery, and an interesting beer. They've got a really neat history, and I won't go into it here, so look it up. But they were really good at seasonal beers. When I used to work at a can beer bar that was also a laundromat. Long story, but it was awesome. And we sold a lot of Fall Hornin because it was good. It was solid.
Harvest Time from Big Boss, and Big Boss is in Winston, I want to say.
I think
Raleigh,
so. Yes.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere up in that area.
They're 3.5. I gave Sam Adams Pumpkin a 3.5. Kick from New Belgium, I gave 3.5. King Don's from Catawba, 3.5.
See, King Don's is interesting. The first time I ever had that one was way back in the day, and I thought it tasted like pumpkin water. But since that time, either my palate has developed or they've developed the beer, and now it's really delicious. So
right, it's a pretty good middle of the road pumpkin beer. So Pumpkin Lager from Highwire, also very 3.5. And then I want to mention this. This is probably as far down as I'm going to go. I'm not going to keep scrolling, but Kennebunkport Brewing Company, which is the house brand for Trader Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
They make a pumpkin ale, and I usually buy a few of them in the fall. Although I gave it a 3.25, which is still pretty above average for me. The thing I'll say about it is I used to love it to death. I used to think it was the perfect mix of the flavors I was looking for in a pumpkin beer, and surprisingly good at $6 a six pack, which is what you'll pay for Kennebunkport at Trader Joe's.
Right.
I'm going to naysay it a little bit now because in the past couple of years, I've done the Atkins diet twice, and it made my taste skew a little bit like less sweet. So things that are sweeter like Marzens and brown beers and things like that now don't taste as good to me as they used to at one time. And actually things that I didn't used to love, like IPAs, I can actually tolerate to a degree more.
Well, and sometimes your palate literally changes. I mean, that was exactly my progression.
It could be age, and it could be that I've done the Atkins diet a couple times. And I will tell you this: when you're going off the Atkins diet, you can literally fucking taste sugar in things. Like you will sometimes you'll order a dish that you think is sugar free, and you'll be eating it. You'll be like, "Oh, there's sugar all up in this bitch."
No, I totally. So I don't know to that extent, but a few years ago, we were camping at a festival with some mutual friends, and this dude, this like little dude that was high the whole time. I didn't like him, but he shows up with that magic berry thing that's supposed to make flavors taste sweet. Yeah, and I didn't want it because I'm drinking beer, I'm having a good time. He's like, no, just try it, and it was like. In hindsight, I wish I had like sucked on it for a second and then sucked on a lemon and then thrown them both away and called it an experience. But I ate the whole thing and it was so gross. And after that, all of the maltier beers that we had in our cooler tasted like butt. Like it was so bad.
Exactly. Yes.
I won't do it again.
That's what that's what happened to me with, it's funny because I did the Atkins diet right before DragonCon one year, and I brought a case of Kolsch with me, and I didn't realize it was going to do that to me.
Right.
And I got to DragonCon, and then all of a sudden I couldn't stand the whole case of Kolsch because it tasted like syrupy sweet to me because I had been on Atkins for 2 months. And I'll say this, I wanna this is a segue, this is not about beer, but the Atkins diet. I will say this, it's good for this. I want to lose 15 pounds fast so I can look good in a costume or outfit. Okay. Is it sustainable? No. Is it healthy? Probably not. Will it wreck your taste buds? Yes. Don't do the Atkins diet, folks. Find some other way to lose weight. I don't know. Like, just drink like lime water for 3 days or some shit. I don't know. Like find some other way to purge yourself of unwanted water weight gain. I don't know. Like,
but not that. Not that.
It's awful. It's awful.
The opinions expressed in this show are the opinions of Bill Perkins. No, yes. But so interesting. So I also don't generally like super sweet beers most of the time, except for like I've gotten to the point where my body is trained that now it is October. So now I like Marzens and pumpkin beers. And then Christmas comes and I'm like, bring on the winter warmers, bitch. And I'm drinking all the winter beers. And then literally Christmas is over and I'm like back to hoppier, more bitter beers. But just this time of year, for me, it's like a comfort thing. Like it's getting dark out earlier. It's, I just want something that tastes comforting.
Yeah. It's something about cinnamon. Like cinnamon is the most comforting flavor on earth, right? Am I right?
It is currently my favorite flavor. Like I cannot get enough cinnamon right now. It's probably because of this fucking pandemic. Like I just want to be constantly comforted. So I'm like, bring on the cinnamon, bitches.
If I could live off Cinnabon, I would.
This is very cinnamony for the folks at home. It's very, very good in that regard.
I want to say this Weyerbacher Imperial Pumpkin is also very, very spicy, but not so spicy that it's off-putting. I've had a couple of them where I'm just like, this is all spice and no pumpkin. This one's actually a good blend. It's a very good beer. I'm loving it. I would
So
recommend.
I poured myself too much of the Night Owl, and now I'm slamming it because I really want to try this stout, and we've got like 15 minutes left. So now I'm just like, glug, glug, glug.
Can you get Matt to bring another glass? Just go ahead and switch.
I could, and I do have the other glass here that I was drinking the porter out of, or the Oktoberfest out of. But I'll be slightly patient. I'll just drink it pretty fast. But I do want to mention, so talking about favorite pumpkin beers, a lot of the ones you mentioned are among my favorites for sure. There's one that we sold at the canned beer bar that I worked at. That was it was 21st Amendment Brewing, which most of their beers are kind of hit or miss, but in this instance, it was literally the best thing I'd ever tried. Like, it was the best thing I've ever put in my mouth to this day. And so it was this 4-pack of beers called the He Said, and it came with 2 pumpkin stouts and 2 pumpkin Belgian ales. And the Belgian ale was really good because Belgian ales have a very distinct flavor. They've got a particular sugar that they use. And this was a really good one because it was pumpkiny and it was like a triple and it was really delicious. It was great. But that freaking porter to this day is my hands down favorite pumpkin beer. It was dark and it was decadent but it tasted, you could taste the pumpkin itself, but you could also taste all the spices, and it was just so good. And we used to buy a ton of it. Well, that would be my shit.
I went to your house, I think last fall. I'm pretty sure you had, or
if not last fall, some fall, because we've definitely had a lot of it.
I was at your house and I remember having it because you told me it was in there and to try it. Yeah, and it was good.
Yeah, we've been looking for it here. And to be honest, I don't even know if they still make it. I hope they do. But we actually, because we went to Total Wine to buy all of this. So, Total Wine's a huge beer and wine and liquor store. Not as much of a selection as you would think if you're going to Total Wine.
No.
But we got some decent stuff. That's why I have a bunch of pumpkins like waiting for me in the closet. But I was looking for that because I'm like, oh, that'd be great if they have that. That's amazing. And we looked online and we could buy a pony keg of it. We thought about it. We're like, could we just put that in here? But we're in an apartment. There's no reason to have a pony keg. But I literally.
Yeah, it's hard to justify that.
It really, really is. Like, honestly, if we were in Asheville in our house, and I would figure out a way to do that. But right here, when it's just the 2 of us, no.
Maybe next weekend.
Next weekend, folks, Bill Perkins is going to be at our house. So imagine there might be some live Bill Has Opinions, mini opinions.
Oh, right. Yes.
I'm drinking, there it is, the Dark of the Moon. I'm going to try the pumpkin stout now.
Okay, I'm curious about this because I will say, like I mentioned in the earlier part of the show, that Elysian makes one of the few IPAs that I actually love. Elysian Space Dust. I had by accident the first time. I'm going off track here a little bit, but that's what we do. I came into the Purple Onion and they had both Elysian Space Dust and they had is it so good?
Oh my God, it's so good. Remember, I was just telling you the story about the He Said pumpkin porter? If this is a more accessible version of it, I am okay with that because
I'll see if I can find it. So sorry, my story. I came into the Purple Onion one time and I ordered a lemon space dog by ABC, Asheville Brewing Company, which is it's a lemony Kolsch kind of. Is that what you would say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's accurate.
And that's what I'd ordered, but I guess the girl behind the bar only heard space. It was the only word she heard. So she poured me a Elysian Space Dust instead. And she put it in front of me, and I looked at it and immediately knew it was the wrong beer because of the color, because it was more of a like sort of a amber color than a bright yellow.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, this is the wrong beer. And then she was like, oh, do you want me to dump that out and give you another one? And I was like, dump it out. That sounds silly. I'll just drink it. Shit. Well, I mean, here's the thing. My wife owns Purple Onion. I'm not like, if you dump beer down the drain, that's my wife's money. So I'd be like, whatever the fuck, I'll just drink it. I'm fine.
Yeah, but if you dump beer down your gullet, that is beer well spent.
So I drank the Elysian Space Dust. I did not know at the time Elysian Space Dust is like 10% or something. It's a very high.
It's like 8.
Oh, okay.
Like it's very high. It's very high. This 10 is very high.
So here's the thing. Emily tells me it's actually very high. It's very high percentage considering the price. It's actually very cheap to buy a keg of it. It's surprisingly well priced. So that shit gets you fucked up quick, you know. And
for the record, it's 8.7. Thank you.
That's almost 9. That's almost 9.
It really is. Like that's like, yeah. Folks who don't drink a lot. I know all of our fans drink beer, but if you don't drink a lot of beer, like average is like 6.
Right.
So
is it 6? Okay, I would think
average.
Okay, the average. I would have thought it was closer to like 5 or something. But anyway, the point is, I drank this whole beer, and by the end of it, like even though I don't love IPAs, I was loving it because I was pretty buzzy. And you know,
as it turns out, that's what happens.
The quicker you get fucked up, the less you care about the flavor of the beer. And I don't hate the flavor of Space Dust. It's actually a very moderately, you know, middle of the road kind of IPA, but it fucks you up quick. And it's very, anyway. So I'm just singing the praises of Elysian here. It doesn't have anything to do with our shit night.
Well, it has something to do because I'm drinking.
She's drinking Elysian, and they make Space Dust, and they also make these beers, and it sounds like they're good beers too. And I'm saying you should drink more Elysian beer.
It's true. That's
true. The point.
No. And to the point of Space Dust, though, for an IPA, like usually the higher alcohol you have, the less smooth that beer is. Like, especially with IPAs, you get a bite. You get like a, but it's really smooth for an 8.7 IPA.
It will probably like smack you in the jaw later. Like you'll be like, "Whoa, I'm fucked up." Like I didn't expect that shit.
It's not what you expect when you're drinking it because it's just, then you look at the bottle and you're like 8.7. What the hell?
Right. Yeah, and I had 2 of them. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So, all right. So we still have a few minutes. I guess, do we have a wrap up for fall beers? I don't know that we do. These can't be low in alcohol because I'm definitely feeling these.
Oh yeah, this Imperial Pumpkin Ale. Hold on, I need to look it up. Let me get on the Untappd real quick.
Dude, the Dark of the Moon that I'm drinking right now is 7.5, and it says it's spookily smooth and chocolatey with a touch of cinnamon. And I think that is exactly right. That is 100% right. So now that I know they have information on the beer, I'm going to read the other one. The Night Owl is 6.7. Oh.
This one is 8%.
Oh, Jesus.
And this
one. It's a good thing you have a job you need to do at the Purple Onion before you go home.
A what?
You have to put up the new art before you go home because you might want to have some water, maybe some coffee.
I will have a glass of water. Yes, I definitely will. Yes, but it is good stuff. This is a very thick kind of beer. It's I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna rate this one a 4.25.
I mean, for you, that's pretty high.
That's pretty high for me.
Yeah. So the Night Owl Pumpkin Ale is their original pumpkin ale brewed with pumpkin, roasted and raw pumpkin seeds, and spiced in conditioning with nutmeg, cloves, cinnamon, ginger, and allspice. So I think that's my initial impression was right on, right? Like it tastes like pumpkin pie. It tastes exactly like pumpkin pie.
Right.
I do highly recommend if you can find the Elysian pumpkin pack with all, because there are two more that I have not tried live on the air. Matt, if you want to chime in, if you had the Punkachino, let us know, because that is their latte one. I'd like to. What is it?
Is that also by Elysian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pumpkin pack had 4 beers in it, so.
Wow.
And I've only tried 2, and Matt was going to try one of the other ones, so we'll see if he chimes in. I don't know if he did.
Yes, that sounds interesting.
Indeed, and there's the 4th one that we haven't tried at all. It's not even in the refrigerator. It's in this closet right next to me. So I may update you all next week on that show. Oh, alas, yeah. Matt has only had the regular pumpkin ale and the stout, but apparently he liked them. So,
okay,
which is good because it was very good. I agree. The Night Owl pumpkin ale is very delicious. Not too sweet. I agree with you on that one too. So I encourage everybody to buy the Elysian pumpkin pack.
Go buy that. If you can
go buy that.
Your local brewery or grocery store or bottle shop, go buy it.
Yes, we went to Total Wine to pick that up. So if you're in Georgia, get thee to a Total Wine. You can even do online ordering and curbside pickup, which is what we did.
Total Wine is actually an East to West Coast chain, I believe. So I'm not sure exactly how they stock, but there are Total Wines like in California, and there are Total Wines on the East Coast. I don't, and I presume across the country.
Well, yeah, they're definitely in Georgia, so I can give you that. I can tell you that. All right. We're really, really close to the end, and we haven't gotten to the rest. So mailbag, blah, blah, blah. We have it. Send us your questions, yada, yada, yada. Although, cheers to all of you listening. We appreciate your participation, and we are glad you shared with us the beers you were drinking. Oh, I never talked about Jay's beer, the Atomic Pumpkin.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
2 seconds. It is a spicy pumpkin ale, and I don't mean spicy like warm spices. I mean spicy like habanero or some shit. So it's pumpkin-y, but it also tastes like your mouth is on fire. So those are my thoughts about that one.
I'm going to go check it out. They just told me about it before the show, and I was like, well, okay. Because it's New Belgium, I can probably find it.
I had a taste of it, and I'm like, no, that's enough for me. I'm good.
Okay. So are you saying it's going to be like the Bell's habanero mango Oberon?
Yeah, not as hoppy or not as spicy as that, but pretty fucking spicy. Like it was more than I wanted, that's for sure. And as Heather mentioned, she's too Norwegian to do it.
I should buy a mixed 6-pack of it.
Yeah. No, see, Jay, in spite of being Midwestern, for some reason thinks it's not spicy, but I did not love it. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I did not love it. All right. Yeah. So mailbag, yada yada. Send us your messages. You're not good anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay, so, Bill, things that are extra. What do you have for us this week?
I want to talk about for a minute things that are extra. It was very hard to find harvest themed beers this year. I guess the beer seasons are weird this year. Normally this time of year, you go into a grocery store and it's like the end of September and you're mowing the grass that day and you're trying to go in there and get like yourself like a nice like summer refreshing beer on a hot September day. And all they've got is Oktoberfest and pumpkin beer already. But this year, I guess because of COVID and because all the breweries ended up dumping all their like spring beer down the drain, everything's weird. And so this year, we actually had a cold snap early. Like it got cold here in the middle of September, which it doesn't usually do. It's usually hot until October.
Right.
in the South, it's usually hot until October, but this year it got cold, and I really wanted to switch to pumpkin beers and to Oktoberfest. And everywhere I went, it was hard to find these things. And I guess it's because because of the whole COVID and dumping all the spring beers down the drain and all whatever happened to the breweries. And again, this probably isn't an issue for Budweiser, but it's an issue for small breweries because they had issues with being able to move product back in the spring and then ramping back up to make product midsummer. There have been like shortages. It's been weird. Like I said, there's nothing here at the Purple Onion. There's like not a fall beer on tap right now. And it's probably just because of what they can get in. I mean, they had Clawhammer, but they went through it quickly. And then now they're back.
You went through it quickly. Bill Perkins, went through it quickly.
I drank the entire keg of Clawhammer by myself.
You really did.
Now they have no fall beers in here. And I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying it's kind of a weird fall. Like usually you go into a place, like I said, late summer is already fall. Usually the beer switches out a month before the actual season switches out. Like you're mowing the grass, and you're like, you know what I could go for is a lime lager. You go into the store and everything in there is like spicy fall shit. You're like, God damn it, I don't want this. You know?
Exactly. We live in the South. Like it's one thing if you're in Michigan or Minnesota and it's September and you're like, bring on the fall. But we're in the South. We don't even get fall until mid-October, generally.
Right. Yeah, it's like late October, honestly. It's like the week before Halloween. It might finally get, oh, hey, look, there's some color on the leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very true. You know, it's funny because I grew up where I was trick-or-treating in blizzards. And then I moved south, and I'm like, why am I wearing shorts on Halloween?
Although I will say, I feel like it's going to be cold this Halloween down here. It got cold quickly. Several trees have already turned red. Like the hickories and the dogwoods are red already.
Yeah. It's got cold fast or cool fast. I won't say cold because that's not cool. Yeah, cool fast, even in Atlanta. Like a week ago, I was like, I'm living on the surface of the sun. And then, like, all of a sudden now it's just like moderate temperatures. It's not cold by any means.
But moderate.
It's moderate. Now it's completely comfortable. That is very, very, very true. All right, we are over our time, and I could literally sit here for the rest of the day and keep drinking beer and just bullshitting. But so I suppose we should call it quits. We will be back, of course, next week. We have, I believe our theme next week is games. So join us for that. Tell us about your favorite games. But that being said, Bill, can you take us away?
Sure, I can. You can remember to take us away. This show is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions expressed by Bill are those of him and him alone, except for the ones she takes her head in acknowledgement of, in which case then they're both of ours. And the ones that Laura says that Bill disagrees with, I guess those are just Laura's. And definitely not the opinions of anybody we've mentioned, which we're not getting paid to mention because that's not a thing yet. But anyway.
We keep talking about people and none of them pay us. No, we don't need you to pay us. We just want you to listen to us.
Right, just listen to us. We don't even need. Don't pay us. Like it's fine. Like just give us your listens. Give us a thumbs up. Be sure to if you like us. If you're listening to us on Facebook, be sure to like and subscribe and leave angry comments down below. If you like us on did I say Facebook? I meant YouTube.
We did. The
YouTube's. Be sure to also like and subscribe and leave angry comments below. I don't know what it is you do on Facebook. You follow us. You follow us on Facebook. You like us on YouTube. You subscribe. You leave angry comments. Just leave angry comments. We don't care. They can be nice comments too. We don't care. It's just do the things. All right. We love you guys.
We do love you guys. thank you again for listening. We will see you in a week. Enjoy your week and get some